tonight's teaching strategy is going to be theater in the classroom. So whatever your experience level with theater is, I hope that tonight you might find some ideas for how you can use theater in your classroom. And I'm excited to share with you all my ideas from 8 years of doing it myself with a huge range of students. If you enjoy what you're hearing, go ahead and respond, comment, question, like. That's all great. It helps for other members of our group to see what's going on here, to see other people's reactions, and to learn from you too. If you have ideas surrounding theater in the classroom, please pop them in the comments. So let's get started. If you are interested in using some more theater in your classroom, don't worry if you've never taken a theater class. I certainly never had when I started teaching. I am still. But I had studied dramas and I had been in some good classes where there was some dramatic engagement surrounding the text. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the different things that I was bringing into it when I first started teaching, in case you can get any ideas from that. So my first year in the classroom, I heard about this grant program in my community, and I pretty often see questions from teachers: what should I do with this money I have available for my classroom? I'm not sure what to spend it on. I didn't have that problem, but then I got this grant and I did get to spend some money. So if you have some money available, as I suddenly did my first year, you could start a theater corner. That's what I did, and it was really simple, very basic. I went to Goodwill and I went to a theater store and I got some wigs, I got some costumes, I got a few sort of basic props that I could imagine using in a lot of scenarios, and that's what I would recommend that you do as well. If you do that, I think you're going to find that your students will enjoy dressing up almost as much as little children do. And it's really great to see the big kids getting enthusiastic about sort of putting on their funny dresses and big suit coats and hats to take the dramatic stage. So that was one of my sort of entrees into doing some theater in classroom, was just to get a few props and costumes. Another thing that I was fortunate to have the experience of doing was I invited a friend who had a big theater background to come and work with my students a little bit. And I think my department was able to pay her some small stipend, but that really wasn't the main point of it. She was just a really cool person who wanted to work with my students. And so she came in, she taught them some theater games, she got them all excited about theater. Oops, sorry, there was some snag in the broadcast, but I'm back. So we were talking about the guest artist in my classroom, and she got them so enthusiastic about theater, and it was such a great experience to have her in and out doing some interesting workshopping with them for a few days, and that helped set the stage for a big theater project that we did after her visit. And it also gave me these great ideas for theater games that I could play with them, and I'm going to link to a page that has a few theater games. I'm also going to show you this book, Theater Games for the Classroom, which I used some to complement the ones that she taught me over the years. But you can find all kinds of ideas for fun theater games to play. And I do think having a little repertoire of theater games is super helpful, because before you do something in class, especially if it's something more major, playing some of these games and giving students a chance to sort of get up and get moving and have fun in the classroom doing theater is super helpful. So I had this experience with a guest. I had my props ready to go. I had a few games up my sleeve. The other thing I had was this great experience coming out of college. I had had a professor at Pomona College out in California, where I went to school, named Martha Andreessen, and she was legendary for her Shakespeare class, and she was my mentor, my favorite professor. And when I took her Shakespeare class, she did this thing called well, I don't know what it's called really, but we called it a progressive performance. So she assigned everyone in the class one act of the Shakespeare play we were reading, which was A Midsummer Night's Dream, and we each read that act in particular detail and rehearsed it all semester and made a plan for performing it. So each act was going to be performed completely differently. One act might be in an 80s theme, performed by a fountain, And one act might be with a theme of sort of futuristic robots performed in the woods or whatever. Everybody just did something totally different, and they created their own programs and their own costumes, their own music and lighting and everything, and memorized the scene and performed it. And on the final day of the course, we traveled around campus watching these performances, and they were so great. And I loved it. I loved being part of it. I had never been in a play before, although I had had several nightmares about forgetting my lines in a play, which was kind of ironic since I had never been in a play. But anyway, so I had had this experience with a progressive performance. So these were sort of the things that I brought into my teaching experience. As I was planning things for students, I had these sort of core things as resources. So here we're going to get into some of the applications. These are things you might want to try in your classroom if you decide you want to use theater as your new teaching strategy in our challenge. So the first thing was really based directly off of my professor's teaching. I did progressive plays in different courses with my students. Once we did Death of a Salesman in several classes progressively around campus, and once we did A Long Day's Journey into Night. And you don't have to do the whole play the way we did in college. What I did was choose really critical short scenes from the play, and I had the students perform them in groups in order. So we spent about a week rehearsing, preparing, memorizing, choosing themes, working on programs, and then on the last day of the week, instead of the last day of an entire term, we traveled around campus watching the different performances, and they were amazing. It was so great. I would really recommend it. And leading up, we did do a number of theater games in class. We did do some practice scenes where we were working in class, performing aloud, just to kind of get their feet wet, because it's a pretty major thing to perform a scene from a play in front of the class. And so I didn't want to just throw them into it completely out of the blue. Another thing, if you're not prepared for that level of commitment, that's a big commitment, is to do a 1-minute version of whatever your text has been. So say you're reading The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. When you finish it, you grab the class and put them in groups and say, all right, you have the class to work on it. At the end of the class, in the last 15 minutes, each group is going to perform the 1-minute version of Huck Finn. Write the script, practice it, make it good, even though it's also going to be silly, even though it's also going to be fast. And you can do 1-minute version, you could do 3-minute, 5-minute, 8-minute, just sort of depending on what you think will work well for your students and how much time you want to spend on it. But I've had a lot of fun with that. It's a way of bringing a little drama to a novel. Or of course, if it's a play, you can do a 1-minute version of a play too. Another thing that we really had fun with in my American literature class was, and this is just an example, you could do this for any character in any novel, but we decided to sort of intensely study for one day the character of Pearl in The Scarlet Letter, and we did a performance day called the Pearl Awards. And so each small group was supposed to find a scene where Hester Prynne's daughter Pearl was featured, and sort of create a little script that was going to feature Pearl and that was going to really show the nuances of her character. And then everybody performed their scenes, and we voted on one actor or actress who was Pearl, who was going to win the Pearl Award for really putting across that character in an incredible way. So this was a fun, dramatic way to bring their attention to character analysis. And you could do it, again, you could do it with any novel or any play. Choose a character you want to focus on and create your own little award performance day. Let's see, another way we've used theater in the classroom is just to do a lot of performing in class while reading a play. So in particular, I did this with my 10th graders for several years when we would read Shakespeare. I felt like the level of the text was confusing enough that if I just assigned the reading at home, they weren't going to have the same takeaway. So we really took the time to perform the scenes in class. They would arrive in class, we would do theater warm-ups, and then we would perform scenes from the play out loud. Again, we would have little props from our theater prop bank. So Prospero would have a staff Miranda would have a dress or a wig or whatever. Everybody would have something that would help them feel like they were ready to go. Wait, did I say Midsummer Night's Dream? I meant The Tempest. So we were doing The Tempest in class. But you could do this again with any play. If you want to do a lot of performing in class, just have a few props that go with each character so that each day, whatever student is performing can kind of get into the feel of it. And also, don't just have them do it cold. So they walk in, they're still thinking about whatever was going on in the hallway, whatever's going on with their friends in the last class, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa, I'm Puck, or oh, I'm Othello. Give them a little time to get into the dramatic mindset by playing a few games, getting out of their chair, getting warmed up, and then again putting on those little costume pieces to get into the feel of it. Another thing I would recommend if you're going to spend your whole class time doing drama is that you be sure and change out characters. So you don't want one person to have all the fun of reading the main character for 40 minutes in a row or whatever, while everyone else sort of tries hard not to tune out. Be sure people know you're going to tap them in and out throughout the day so that they stay particularly engaged. Another idea, a fun thing that I did with my International Baccalaureate seniors when I was in Bulgaria and we were really reading a lot of plays, was to wrap up a big term of drama with a one-act play festival. So you could do this as a standalone unit, or you could do it attached to a study of theater. You have the students get into groups and write their own one-act plays surrounding some sort of theme, either a theme that you identify or a theme that relates to the last text you read or the last series of texts, or you just let them choose whatever theme they want. This was really a wonderful project for me. I so admired the creativity that the students brought to it, and I think they had a lot of fun. They created their plays, they rehearsed them, they did their own costuming, lights. Again, I let them choose locations around campus. I'm a huge fan of getting out of the classroom. I think there's a lot more engagement when there's variety, and so I enjoy seeing them do their performances in whatever locations they wish. Finally, I want to talk for just a minute about something we did with the Canterbury Tales. If you've ever read the Canterbury Tales, it's a lot of fun doing a Canterbury pilgrimage. So when you finish the book, have students write their own tales and then do a pilgrimage around your campus and have them all, pause at different points around campus and tell their stories, just like in the Canterbury Tales. And this is a very dramatic, very fun way to wrap up the book. And you might be able to think of another book you could apply it to where storytelling is a crucial component. But we had so much fun doing this. We told our stories all over campus, and then we wrapped it up in a fun, sort of cozy location on campus where we could have some food and listen to some music and vote on which tales we thought were the best by secret ballot, of course. And then I made the award ceremony at the end of that day, and it was really a special and dramatic day for us. So those are some ideas for bringing some theater into your classroom. Take them where you will. I'm glad that you have chosen to join this group, Creative High School English, and that you decided to watch 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of these videos this week. May you have that wonderful feeling you get when you unroll a new pedagogy and you're super excited about it, and so are your students. Please comment on this video, ask questions, invite your friends into the group. We are a new group and I'm so excited to grow. So may the teaching force be with you. Bye.